Welcome to the Out There channel. Live stream 427. Back to Mr. Grey only. I'll be with you after the show.
I'm searching, I'm loving, I'm finding love, I'm hiding, I'm searching, I'm loving, I'm finding love.
Dark side. Let the fate control your body. At the beginning, still was written.
Bit of lag already. Nothing what I do with YouTube fixes that. But Twitch, no problem.
I'm searching, I'm loving.
We're searching for the truth, and all we find is lies, and more lies, and fraudsters going down. So good to be back. Just try that, yeah. I think I changed some settings, have I? No, that's right. Maybe a bit louder. Good to be back. Yeah, we're back on the desktop, are we? Yep, looks good. Welcome to the OT channel live show, live stream, what do you want to call it? 427 Travis revisited. Okay, and other topics. I haven't broadcast this around. Only those that are sub to me with notifications will know about me going live. Now, last time I did this, I didn't get any trolls. Obviously, they don't sub to me. That's 3 watches. I didn't expect many people to be on this time of night, but you never know. There might be some from USA. What's the time over there at the moment? I'll just get rid of the echo. That's better for me. Normally I have the feedback on because I have the other avatar on that you know about, Ty Lawyer. And I need to hear if it's going alright. But yeah, I'll mute it. Hopefully the audio doesn't crackle. If it does, let me know out there. Should be right though with just Mr. Grey. So there's a lot been going on in ufology as usual. A lot of drama, a lot of new exposing, especially from the GUFON side of things. Now, I see he was careful not to mention me, but I see he's outed Shelly M. You know who the Shelly is. Did a public rant about her, saying that she caused a lot of disturbance on his Discord. And you got to remember, I was like the pioneer of the Discord for UFO channels, and everybody copied me. But yeah, we were really good with Shelly. We tried to help her. I even bought her a tablet because she claimed that all her devices were compromised. So I've bought her a tablet knowing that it has best Android security on it, as she would be able to come on and get rid of the compromised iPad that she had. Now, GUFON was saying that she was paranoid and had split personalities and caused a lot of disturbance on Discord, and she come crying back to him saying that she was sorry she left him for the Out There channel, which is a bit disgusting to hear, really, but considering what we did for her. Not only did we actually give her the opportunity to tell her story, and also I asked her permission for photographs and everything, and make sure anything in her Discord room that we had set up was okay to be used on the show, and of course apparently it wasn't. So she wanted me to go back and re-edit it, so I had to go back and re-edit it and make a mess of the live show that we did. And we had even gotten on one of the key players in abduction cases research, Earl Grey, who's part of ERT, to interview her. So that was a really good interview, really good episode, I thought. But and she even did drawings for us of what she saw and claimed. But yeah, her childhood was a bit of a mess, and her family hated her and all this sort of stuff. So we wasn't sure what was real, what is make-believe. But we still listened to what she had to say. And of course, a lot of people that get abduction do end up being paranoid about stuff, about being spied on and Men in Black and all that. Well, we had a few things go crazy on our show a few times, haven't we? So we always joke about Men in Black. But yeah, she got the tablet, and what she do? She gives it to some people, some computer experts that managed to stuff it up. They changed all the security on it, and so the microphone would never be able to spy on her and all this, but then she couldn't use it to do chats and usual internet stuff. And her telecom said no, it couldn't even have a SIM card from them in it, which was porkies. It had 2 SIM slots in it. They didn't even know how to open it up and get access to them. So USA expertise in the telecom industry is far below par compared to what you get even in New Zealand. But yeah. Anyway, he did a trash story on Shelly a couple of days ago, was it? And she begged him to take her back and all this sort of stuff. But he didn't mention it was me, but everybody knew that she was part of my channel for a while. So I was a wee bit disappointed in that. So if she's listening, it's all out and open now. What I can do is, though, I did get her to get a telecom guy that was coming to her house to change the security settings on her router. Not only change the password, but disable WAN access from the outside. So if it had been compromised by a hacker, there's no way they could mess with her through the router. So after they did that change, apparently things started working better. So yeah, her story was that she had an iPad that an ex-girlfriend that was in the house had left them. They broke up, so she changed the password, but she had bought the iPad and had it logged into her email address and changed the password, but left it still with them. And apparently the dog sat on and cracked the screen, but it was still working. But I think she installed some remote access stuff on there, because you can install stuff remotely, can't you? Once if you got the account. This is the thing I hate about Apple products, right? There was no way to reset the password because it's got the wrong email in it for the ID of it, and the only way would be to hack it and then destroy any evidence that it had been compromised. So basically I told her wait for the tablet and not use this iPad anymore, and change all her passwords once she gets the new tablet. So she didn't, because of C19 it was taken, instead of 10 days delivery to US, it was taken 3 months. Well, actually it was 4 months, I think it was back then. And meantime she saw a good offer for a tablet and managed to get some payout or something. And I said, well, if you want to spend $500 on a laptop with a 15-inch screen, it would be better. And you'll have two fresh devices that you can do factory reset on if they get compromised. Of course, she didn't know how to do factory resets, and she didn't know much about tech, and of course she got a bit abused by so-called shops and experts out there, and paid a lot of money to them. But yeah, she had this big story that she spent like $40,000 on computers over the years because they always get hacked. So yes, the story was a bit over the top. But apparently she took it to these guys that managed to find evidence of that she had been hacked. So that's the last I heard anyway, but she said there might be insurance cover for it, and maybe get a big payout from insurance of her ID being compromised. So for that reason we're a wee bit worried if she's always been hacked, how much we would give her access to things on our side of things, because you don't know if it was someone stealing her identity half the time, which sort of made her look split personality if it was. So yeah, we still don't know. But I just want to say my bit about it, and yeah, I think I was totally fair about it, and I still haven't judged her. But she did cause a bit of problem on our Discord and started abusing people, and she had to go as well from our end. And once I blocked her from my email and stuff, I didn't want any more contact with her. Obviously she went off looking for other people to cry on and blab maybe lies about me. I don't know. Seems that people like to tell lies about me all the time. So yeah, of course a lot of people were upset that I bought her the tablet, but I thought, well, we can use her story, and she's got some payment out of it, and a peace of mind of a new piece of equipment that's not hacked and can easily be factory reset. So yeah, instead of hearing her complain about being hacked and couldn't get on to watch the show, I thought, well, I'll just spend the money for her. She said she was going to pay me back though, but I said don't worry about it. So yeah, it sort of come out of the channel's funds, but of course those funds are needed now, because I'm more than zero in the bucket at the moment. I got like $5,000 on credit card already, and 0 in the bank. So yeah, I need people to donate a little bit, you know. At the moment, if the way it's going, I'll be gone by Christmas. I got memberships to pay and stuff as well. Ongoing costs. Everything costs, you know. Nothing's ever free. So yeah, I got my website here called WordPress, theouttherechannel.wordpress.com, right? And we're keeping making improvements to it. Now we've got cryptocurrency you can donate to. Best videos tab we've got here now. Here we go on the side chat, just pop up. Hey, here we got Solar Marshall. Yeah, we get on to Travis in a minute. Travis was hiding in Alan Dallas trailer for a week. Well, that's not what we heard today, but as anything's possible, the money came into play because of insane media attention. Yeah, I've had good and bad about Travis, that they're like military men and they are honourable and they wouldn't tell lies and all this sort of stuff. And he's a nice guy and all that. But yeah, what I don't see now, we got the best videos up here. And one of them's probably going to be Travis, actually, which is what I'm going to talk about today. Just to update the information that I've heard. Here it is here. I debunked Travis a long time ago, but no one listened. And what I told is almost 90% of what's come out. So we'll go over that. So we've got the video tab there of some of the best videos on our channel. Website, I mean. And if you want to donate, we need more. Go to home tab, is it? Home. We need more subscribers to Subscribestar. At the moment, there's a limit to when they pay out to international banks, and normally it's 100 plus. So that means you need a lot of subscriptions to get up to that level before they'll pay it out to you, because of bank fees, which is a killer. So yeah, I need another $40 donated there. So if anyone wants to do a tip of some money, that would keep me going for another year. So we also got tips on OBS set up, where you don't have to use Super Chat. Super Chat, Google takes 30%. So yeah, if you like what I do, think about supporting me, you know, if you like my sense of humour and the things I do, and especially the debunking side of things. So again, GUFON did a show today with Scott Brown, and we may play some of that as well. And we'll just go over what I said. But I actually drew a little map here, which is very similar to what they were talking about today. Why is it not coming up with the videos? So scroll down here. So this is my video tab. That's our current live stream here. Last video was repairing a touch lamp. And then I got these ones with my new avatar called Thai Lawyer. So if you've not seen that, you may enjoy it and have a laugh. But down further here, we should have the episode. I did a recap episode to talk about what I did years ago about Travis, where I was a bit suspect about his story. And that's because the main one for me was Mr. Grey, as you know, on the corner here, would never shoot a laser beam at someone to cause them harm. In fact, most abductions come home safely. They may have little scoop marks and stuff, but shot with laser beams, I don't think so. That's the only story where a laser beam or a beam of light was shot at someone and knocked him back. Alright, so to me that was like a red flag. That sort of, you know, making aliens evil again. And then they said no, they were trying to lie to them to try and to lift him up and take him away. Yeah, right. Normally the UFO would go right over the person, right, and then the beam would come down rather than shoot from a angle from behind trees. But when you listen to the whole story, is it in sync? Let me just check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I might just reset that so it's not. Okay, are we back? Is it in sync better? Hello, hello, hello. Okay, the alien seems better now. Okay, we'll just keep it on that. So yeah, so I did this drawing here because I come across a map of something that was drawn by one of the witnesses or investigators, and I could never find it again, so I took it from memory. Should be a thumbnail, hopefully. Okay, there it is there. And I said there was actually 2 roads in, but they always used the same road in, which was not even close to where the sighting was, which is basically what the story came out to be today. And this craft was like 4 or 5 kilometers away or miles away. Like I said, they often have multiple roads for truckies to because they're normally single lane, right? So they don't get sort of bogged down. If one's bogged down or flooded, they always got another road they can use. It's not like they tarmac things and stick gravel on. So yeah, if you're not seeing that episode, that was back in Jan 2021. Okay, but I've talked about this years prior. Some of the things I had researched on it. So it's quite interesting that it's all come out now. But there's still some variations happening. As we just read on the side chat. I'll see if I can get it up. He was on parole and was trying to avoid a drug test. Who was Travis? Or Alan? So let's just go over what's been said, and I'll just post a link to this one here, even though it's on WordPress. So you can, and it's got chapters, so you can jump to certain sections if you want to, instead of listening to all of it. And if you want to get to the end of the drawing. Paul's debunk back in Jan 2021. Okay, so there's a lot of stories out there about Travis, but it's hard to verify a lot of information, of course. And of course there was some tape recordings that transcripts were taken from, which one of the key ones in here was that one of the guys in the back seat said he thought it was a deer stand with spotlights. Now what's come out today is that it wasn't a deer stand, but it was this thing here, a fire lookout tower, which is just above the tree line. And you'd think, well, surely they would know about that, versus setting up a deer stand very quickly on another road somewhere with some spotlights with run off a truck battery that was hidden with a lot of bush over top of it. which is what I said was most likely the debunk for it. But it's funny how my theory of the dare stand based on that quote and how it would be done is very similar to what was said about this thing here. Apparently these have got spotlights on, and also a beam light, which is the laser light that hit Travis. You can shine it down to spots on the forest and light them up. But apparently they had lots of lights on them back then. This one clearly doesn't show any sort of spotlights though. So it looked like that to them from afar, right? I suppose if you saw that for the first time at night time, you'd think, oh, that looks like it's a craft hanging over the trees, right? That makes pure sense, right? And if it had spotlights on it, with you could turn on different colour spotlights and shine one towards the truck. That's obviously on the other side of the tree line here. That make perfect sense. So I can see why they thought it might be a dare stand at the top of the trees, right? But there's actually more information that comes to light through research and papers by Scott Brown and a few other people, apparently. And some of them described it having square windows, which that clearly has. Lit up and had different colour lights on it, which was the spotlights. So it sort of matches quite well, actually, the story. And of course, they turned it into a UFO, but I suppose it's got an angle bit here. I suppose it could be mistaken for a UFO, and it's got that little bit at the top here. Kind of looks like a... You wouldn't see the rest of it down here because it would be in dark. So it would look a bit like this one here with the angle. I suppose it just... the human brain would interpret bits what they saw. So that sort of confirmed pretty well the whole story, right? Two roads, another one leading out also, but on a long detour of 5 miles. And of course, if they were new to the forest, apparently they were new to the forest. Only Travis and Roger knew really the whole forest. But the other guys, that's like newbies, greenhorns, apparently didn't know there was a fire tower watch there. So yeah, so we got some sort of confession here. So it's spelled out here from Eric Luke's Skyfire. Does it talk about Scott Brown with her? Let's have a look. Told by producer Ryan Gordon. But there's another photograph of the tower from the air from a drone. If that was lit up at night time, it would look like a UFO. And if you're on this road here looking this way, as you can see it's behind the row of trees, right? I suppose they could easily be fooled, the passengers. And of course, they didn't know what road, obviously they went back on, because they probably weren't paying attention. So when they went back to search for them, they went back on the other road and thought the location where they saw it was the real one. So there's a lot of things in the story where things got switched around. Remember I said the ring growth in the trees could easily be faked because They used to use fertilizer to super grow young trees they would plant. So quite easily you could just dump a load of fertilizer around some trees and then come back years later and say, oh, let's take a core off a tree and see if they've been affected by the UFO that was here, which is the wrong location anyway by the sounds of it. And apparently Scott Brown checked it out and said that there's no scientific lab that did any processing on it. So that's another chunk in the story there, but no one obviously didn't mention about the fertilizer. So yeah, looks like I was the only one to bring it up. And what was that one? Truthseekers was talking about it today. And GUFON, but we got play under fair use Orion Adventures. So let's just have a listen to the radio clip that's going around, of course, from that Ryan guy, is it? Where he confessed to the guy. And then later tried to cover up, saying that it was digitally edited. Yeah, I think you can't really go back once you let the cat out the bag.
A phone text, okay?
Yeah.
He texted me a picture of that.
Is it going to play?
Of that, you know. But I'd already seen it. Of course, I've seen it a couple of times. You know.
Yeah, that's new.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Within the last couple of months.
It.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, it isn't very good.
Well,
it's nothing like, you know, I used to paint signs, and my signs were just perfect. And, of course, my illustrations are as much as I can possibly make them, of course. But, yeah. That was very his poor artistry, okay?
Yeah. Well, let's continue to talk more.
The guy has that beam like 3 or 4 feet wide, you know. And,
yeah.
And the way he painted Travis is really crappy too, you know. It's just really not very good at all.
Yeah, it sounds like that was
Somebody
the beginning of it.
In the woods one day, Travis and I.
Let's go.
All I can remember, is that we were talking in the woods one day, Travis and I, and I remember leaving a chainsaw on a stump. Okay, he had a saw, but he took his with him because we were talking about creating a UFO hoax. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how the UFO got there. Okay. But I remember that when I was driving the truck and he jumped out, it was all deliberate. It was all a staged thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And he ran up there, and there was something about the UFO not being real, although it looked real.
Well, basically, so
and of course,
what you're saying is, you and Travis together hoaxed this.
yeah. I mean, Travis's brother Dwayne helped him.
I believe that.
Philip Plass actually suspected that Dwayne was part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he was his protector, and he was saying weird things on that Fred Sylvanus interview. I have nothing. I don't fear at all for his life. I know where he's at.
I know that was
blah,
really
blah, blah, you know?
That was really bizarre.
And I thought all along that he was just trying to how would you say it? Make himself believe that his brother was okay.
Yeah, that's what you had told me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if let's say today you could walk me through the entire thing of how and why and blah blah blah, how the process would work. Yeah. Just so you're aware, how the process would work is, I would put.
Let's go out for the site, you know, and let's have dinner and all that stuff, you know, because I definitely need
we can have dinner at that, if we're going to go out to the site, we can just have dinner at that Casa Ramos right there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if it's
And
good.
they have another one down the way, because that one is closed sometimes. There's another one down the way.
Aliberto's?
Aliberto's, yeah.
Yeah, Aliberto's is good. I've been there.
But that's like you're supposed to eat outside or take it with you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they have
about
indoor dining because of COVID. I'm not really sure.
I looked in there and they have indoor dining. So they have indoor tables and stuff, but for some reason they don't use them.
Maybe it might be a COVID thing.
There first. We went by there and stopped there first, and they just had a window where you could order at, you know?
Yeah, well, all Aliberto's have that.
Yeah, so it talking about other things there. So basically what he said is confessed that they hoaxed it. And that's where it's all started. I'll just post the link to it there. And we go on. Rogers finally admits hoaxing. It's funny how it's come out like 6 months after I said, and it's almost identical to what I was saying, how they could fake it. Now there had to be a extra person, right, in the tower. Obviously, it couldn't be the people in the truck, so there's another person out there that can verify it was a hoax. Yeah, people always pass away, don't they? And you're never able to question them. Yeah, so apparently, because he's a government employee, the guy that was in the tower that night, if he confessed to doing the hoax, apparently he would go to prison. Because it's a felony charge to do what he did that night. Which makes perfect sense why he's not going to come out and say, yeah, I was part of the hoax. And of course he probably got a good payout and ongoing backhanders to keep it that way. So as you know, a lot of these fraudsters, they do this sort of stuff, right? They pay off people. Silence. So yeah, did I post the link to the to this here? Travis Walton case, liar in the sky. Isn't that funny? I love it. And what's really sad is the amount of people in UFO field just couldn't see through this guy. And yet a Kiwi in New Zealand instantly got bad vibes off him and knew something wasn't right. And finally now all this comes out and it sort of validates what I've been doing for the last 5 years. So I always question things and look things with new eyes and think outside the box. And yeah, I got attacked over it. But obviously not as much as Scott Brown did, which we'll listen to some stuff that he said. But yeah, better copy that. Did that link go? Or we still got problems with them blocking me posting my own website links on my own channel, on my own live stream. Google's just terrible. Let's see, tower. Looks like it's going though. I don't like how they put dot on instead of just creating the full link there. So if you want to copy and paste the chat side to another platform, you can't because the URLs have been truncated in normal text, you see. And I don't know if there's any way to turn that off. I don't think there is. So yeah, I spoke to Earl Grey. Oh no, I'm not going to put Travers under the bus. He's a nice guy. Well, nice guys always turn out to be fraudsters and hoaxers, right? Surely you would have to question stuff that happened that day, which was all abnormal. Like they were working late. Travers was sick all day in the truck while the others worked, so he had plenty of time to sneak off and make sure everything's set up at the other place. They could easily have stashed another truck, Roger's truck, somewhere that he could have got into and driven off. And also Rogers apparently disappeared for 2 hours as well, which maybe they took off together. So I'll cover that in my presentation from a long time ago. Summarized it up there as good as I could. Close tab on that. What's happened here? Strange. Okay, 41 minutes into the show. So we can have a listen to what Scott Brown said on GUFON. Or we can choose to listen to the original story here. With the guys, Erica Lukes and Ryan Gordon. Suppose we can have a quick look, see what's better. Oh, someone's getting lots of money. It's not me. Never me. Okay. Gotta watch out for the music. Yeah, lots of music in it.
Verbiage to bombard folks on either side of the coin. Not so much the objective, critical side of this return. They couldn't find Travis. That's the story as I understood it back in 19...
Okay, there's Scott Brown, Erica Lukes, and this guy here, which... not too sure on.
1975. Mm-hmm. And years went by, and then
what was it?
Within the last week or so, this new event occurs. Mike Rogers is on telling his story. There seemed to be contradictions between what he said and what Travis had said. It amounts to bickering between the two. It's not a good sign for when you're trying to convince people that the story is coherent and everybody's hanging together and had seen the same thing, but that's the way it happened. And then after that, you chimed in with new information, which I didn't expect. And the fellow Ryan Gordon surfaced, and he had a great deal to add to the story. And he seemed to be directly involved.
And yes, and exactly. And I wanted to say that it was really interesting to me to see how, of course, we're so, conspiracy theory driven in the UFO community, but to see how people were, really saying that he's part of a dark cabal.
Yeah, I mean, the reaction afterwards was...
Yeah, so they could say, oh yeah, you're part of the government agents, sure, trying to debunk Travers. How dare you? Okay, I think there's some pictures, aerial shots of the road, somewhere in this. I'm not too sure where though. I haven't actually watched it. I've heard references to it. UFOs love the Waltons. Okay, so they got some clippings here. that proved that they were interested in UFOs, even though they made public claims that they were never into UFOs. So there's a contradiction. What else we got? Lots of pictures, I hope. There's the tower, which we've already talked about. And same pictures probably. Alright, so there's a shot from the road, is it? Let's see. Yeah, you can barely see it. It's well hidden there. Night time. That would look like a UFO. Let's see, is someone talking on that?
For you, so that would be good for you to get. Okay, Brian. Keep
It's super fascinating that people are having a really hard time. I think just a couple of minutes ago I was accused of having really thin skin, and I find it super interesting that people are having a breakdown that I'm reading newspaper articles.
I know. Well,
anyway, let's move on.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's move on. All right. So we're going to go into Gentry right now, which I know is why most people are here. But again, the way that I work and when I'm putting things together is to build a character profile, and I think that's incredibly important. Is everybody still there? It looks like everybody.
Some interesting issues.
Where's the bit where they're going to talk about it? I thought we were going to hear about the day shot.
I have an idea.
Here we go.
For folks, is the trees here, which are tall enough to have been there at the time, at least at a smaller height like this, you cannot see the tower, even when you are going through. Let me back up here. Even when you almost get up right up on it. I'm zooming in. I'm showing this sign here, and I'm saying you still can't. As soon as you turn in, now Gentry comes in view, and there's my dog, of course. So wanted to share that as well, so that we can give a really kind of fair look of what Gentry is. Let's go back to the presentation, Erica.
Okay, and I would like to ask you, Michael is asking, have any of the witnesses confirmed that this was the route home?
Yes, I have been here with Mike Rogers. Mike Rogers is already on record saying that he's been here to Gentry with me. And I don't want to quite get to that step yet, but I was shown where Mike had stopped the car or stopped the truck. And
okay.
Great.
Let's go back to screen sharing the PDF.
Did you get, okay.
If they'd seen anything.
I wonder if he brings up the same quote.
So I'm guessing you guys can all see this here.
Mm-hmm.
How about instead of 50, let's just do search.
These guys like their fine print. Unlike I do.
Are and were, and so I think that would be.
Just skim through it.
I want to recreate this. I think that would be really.
I'll give you the
cool.
link so you can watch the whole thing.
And I will just say that you're one of the very
we covered
few
that one
people who's
before.
actually been there. You were actually with.
They all made money out of it. Travis the most though. Okay, we're going to Google Maps now.
Is anybody in chat that could verify if they see this?
I can see it good, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit small, mate. Zoom in.
After we're done here, if people would like to go and find the road, it's going to be right next to the coordinates that I'm sharing here. Anyhow, how the story goes according to
you remember the map I drew? Like there's a road coming up here to where they were working. But that road obviously connects to here. Looks like there's a dirt road, look. It's really hard to see. There's the main road there, is it? It's very similar to my map. I wanted to see how accurate I was in my memory. And here's the road going up here. So I reckon it must join up here somewhere. Have they got the coordinates? I'd like to have a look myself. Probably not. Nope. Be good if they had the link. You just copy and paste it. Is there any way we can tell from that? No, really small. Damn it. Anyway, we'll see what he says.
Book is they're here at work, and let's see if we can get a 3D view. Yeah, kind of. So the incline here. They're at work. You know, guys are I don't know, up here, over here, wherever. They're out at work. It's time to stop. They get in the truck. Here's the road, and they are going to be traveling at this point south to Rim Road here, and the typical way home is going to be along Rim Road and then here. But let's not go quite that far yet, because as the story goes, they're driving here along this homemade logging road. And as they're driving along, let's use Google here to get a distance. Now, I want to be fair to this version of the story, that when I do a measure of distance here, that this is Turkey Springs area. That does not mean that when they left for work, they were not up over here, where the mouse is, up over here. So let's be fair to this version of the story. But let's do a measured distance from here to where I am told where the truck stopped with the public version of the story. So we're at 1,983 feet, roughly. Let's just call it 2,000 to be fair. That's roughly 364 meters away. Let me show you what this looks like with a drone footage, which I don't know if I dare, because I'm going to have to start over again with a screen share. Let's hold off on that, and remind me, Erica, to come back to that.
Not in my setup.
So as the story goes, the public story, they're here at the job site. They're headed home, and right up at the top of this hill here, they see the UFO. Travis gets out of the car and runs up the side of a pretty steep hill, through the trees. Whatever, to see a UFO that's originally described as pretty much the same dimensions as Gentry. When I stood here, with members of the crew, using that term loosely again, you can't even see the trees up here at all, because this is a fairly steep incline. You'll see that in the drone footage or drone shot as soon as I can show y'all. But that's okay. I mean, this is what the public is told. So let's.
And what are the coordinates for that?
Yeah, was it published? We want the coordinates too. What do we got here? Obviously, that's a UFO. Alright, you can see how the tree line is. There's the road, or dirt road. And where's Trevor? Travers. He got out the car, got shot by the spotlight. I wish we had the map coordinates. Have they got it posted down here somewhere? Yeah, but as we pointed out, only Mike Rogers and Travers were on the hoax. The other guys were meant to be like the first witnesses. They had no clue what was going on. so they could say, yeah, they saw a UFO. Makes their story more believable. I was expecting to see a lot of naysayers. So I'm not convinced. We're going to do your own research. And you'll come across the same information we all did. And there's also medical side of things, right? So he was meant to be away for 5 days in a pod in a UFO, like in a Matrix, and he wasn't dehydrated, hungry, and his face still grew a beard, and he wasn't clean shaven. There's a lot of story in the story which doesn't add up. So normally you have a blood test after, and it was all normal. Now I don't think he mentioned having a drip in the arm or anything like that. But then people can say, well, UFOs stuck him in ice or whatever. Hibernation. But then if that was the case, you'd expect the beard not to grow. So you can always knock back those claims. See what he's saying here.
Taking into account this is new growth. So we're going to go up the side of the hill. Run up the side of the hill. We're expected that everybody in the truck can see through the trees, and they can see uphill to a point where we have a ton of trees blocking. We have an incline of somebody standing there that gets flown back. This is what we're... If people are cool with that, then let's keep going.
They're using Skype, aren't they? Never use Skype. It's garbage. Oh dear. These people need to learn Jitsi, meet, and peer-to-peer. No man in the middle. Okay. So you can see the incline there. Obviously it makes sense to put the lookout tower on a hill ridge. That's what it looks like. With also the forest around it. So it's definitely on a higher up than them. Sort of fits. What's that say there? Something. Old Logging Road. Yep. Alright. So which direction did they come though? Did they come round here? From where they're working? So this is where we need the map.
I'd like to stop this screen share here, and I'd like to show what this footage looks like from the ground. So let's do a stop. Let me get that footage up here. You're muted, Erica.
Don't you get tired of telling me that? I think that's what Mario and Scott get tired of telling me that too. But we're getting there. We're just on a new platform. So anyway,
when you see that,
Okay, let's skim on.
Appreciate Ren. Like, first of all, I just want to.
Site. Here's the thing. I get what they're saying. I get when they're asking if they could find anyone who was sufficiently objective. Fine. You don't want somebody debunking you as soon as you mention UFO. I get it. So, U of A, Flagstaff, Flagstaff.
I don't think they got that they use fertilizer. It's quite easy to make trees grow faster in an area that you want to come back to later and say, look, it grew faster that year. And it validates their story. Sounds like they're all over the place here. Yep. So it might be best to listen to part of GUFON's interview with Scott Brown's summary. So they're going through that whole live show. But we can see here from the aerial shot. Let's see, the beam of light from the tower. Where's the truck's up here. No? Yeah, truck's there. Trevor's in the wrong place, I would have thought. I mean, in that case. Because he should be over this side. Got out the truck, run towards it. Then hit with the beam. You can see how the road splits off here. I always thought my breakdown was a bit better than this. Using the deer stand, which they could erect themselves quite easily. And disconnect, have a foot switch that turns on the spotlights. And then act like you're being hit by a beam. But yeah, this does fit, but not too sure if he's got the right locations here with where people were standing. Look out. So, did he actually run through the trees here? But how would they see him? So it's not quite right with that.
In the face. That's a thing. But either way around it, I was fairly critical, and I think that y'all should be too when it comes to this going uphill and up over the top of the hill.
Okay, so this looks more correct here, where Travers runs up the hill, and then it shoots a beam of light at him, and they see him jump backwards. None of the people in the truck actually saw him lift hover. That's part of the ongoing changes in the story. Alright. They got inserted into the story. But anyway, I'll give the link to that. Because we don't want to break our fair use of what we just looked at there. Whose show was it? Was it Gordon's show? UFO Classified. No, it's Erica Luke's channel, isn't it? Erica Luke's plug for who was the guy? Ryan Gordon. I'm just trying to type it up on the other screen. Claims. Okay, that looks good. Okay, we can close that one down now. What was this one? That was Truthseeker. I saw that pop up here, where he's going about Jimmy Church. Jimmy Church helps Travis Walton weasel out the hoax claims. And he did the same with security. And of course they block anyone that ends up in the side chat saying, well, if you want proof, go and visit the Out There channel. You never get anyone visiting. So we'll come back to him. Let's have a play of this one.
All the evidence he has, and we play the phone call that he makes to Travis to prove that Travis was lying, that, you know, he was acting like he didn't know him. And, you know, so he called Travis, he recorded the call, he found out if it was legal, and that phone call is actually online with the one that Mike made. Both recordings are online.
Okay, so we've just played those.
About 2 minutes long.
Which one was first?
Yeah, we'll just get past all that. They've got it prepared, like me.
Question about UFOs. The rest was, did you harm Travis? Did you kill Travis? So there was only one question about
test.
Would be convincing.
Now, I talked about that before. They were suspicious that they had killed Travis and buried him or whatever. So all the questions weren't really about whether it's alien or UFOs, but more underhanded crime. And also later on, Travis gave a list of questions that could be asked. Like, instead of saying, did you hoax the event? They'll change the question somehow. Or did you see a UFO? To change it to, did you see lights in the sky? Which is obviously a yes, and it'll pass the lie detector. But also, back then, they knew if you took cough syrup and a few puffs of weed, that you could relax before a lie detector test enough to pass it. So you got to always keep that in mind too.
That's
because
why
they were fooled as well.
That's why they passed the lie detector.
Exactly. But here's another reason why they passed the lie detector. There was only one question about UFOs. The rest was, did you harm Travis? Did you kill Travis? So there was only one question about UFOs. The first lie detector test that was given, that was paid for by the Inquirer, he failed. And the Inquirer covered it up, and Ground Saucer Watch found out about it. That's all on record. You can go in there and see all the documents where
I did.
People found out.
I can't believe it.
And I've got one PDF that's over 400 pages that has just, you name it, it's in there.
Wow.
And so, where are we going from here? Okay, so they have the contest. And so these guys come up with the idea.
So, and the newspaper was offering money for UFO stories, you might remember. Going back to Trent photographs days. About $5,000. But this particular one, they were offering $100,000. And of course, that got their ears up. to do a UFO hoax and sell the story.
That they're going to use this Gentry fire tower to fool the other 5 guys. So the Gentry fire tower is 4.9 miles away from where they claim the abduction site is. And you can read in Travis's book, they pulled up, they were all panicking. You can hear how they described the UFO. That it was lit, that it had frames like a window, that it was made out of metal. You know, just the descriptions alone are like just, so anyways.
I know, but
so
something 4 miles away is not going to look like it.
Yeah, so you're getting confused.
You got
and
it
that's
wrong,
where a lot
GUFON.
of people don't understand.
Oh,
the
good.
theory.
Okay. All right.
It's because they drove there on the other side of the forest where they could see it. But from their work site, it was too far away to make sure the other guys didn't know about it till on the way home. And because Travis was in the car sick, or the truck, they were taking longer to do their contract that day, so it got into the evening.
So when I'm sorry, let me.
I have the phone call too, but I'll let you finish that and we'll listen to the call.
Okay, so they all right, well, I'll start at the beginning. So
They all
leave their
described it.
work-
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
They leave the work site. They're driving down the road. They come upon the tower. Now you got to remember something. Mike drove these guys to work every day. None of them spent time in that forest. Only Travis and Mike were familiar with that area. Mike drove them to work all the time. So it wasn't like they were going to jump in their own vehicle and drive up there and see the Gentry fire tower.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't familiar with it. So they leave their work area. They come down the road. There's the fire tower lit through the trees. They said it looked like a campfire. It looked like one crew member described it as a plane that crashed that was hung in the trees. So they see it, and the whole thing happens. They freak out. Travis jumps out of the truck. He goes over there, gets hit with a beam, falls on the ground. They take off in the truck. So when they get down farther down the road, now Mike's feeling guilty, and we believe he was just putting on an act. He decides to go back. So only 4 guys went back. So if you read the book, they're confused about where it happened. They've got flashlights out. They're stopping at multiple locations because it's dark. It's in the dark. All the areas look the same. There's piles of logs and trees everywhere. It's dirt roads.
Mm-hmm.
They're all arguing about where it
That
happened.
makes sense.
Mike brings them to a spot near where they were working,
Mm-hmm.
which is 4.9 miles away.
But here's a good question from Cat73 in the chat. Says, didn't they see it on the way up to their work site? Like, wouldn't they have
No,
noticed it?
just told
They're not
you.
leaving when the sun is up all the time, I would imagine,
They're
right?
newbies.
There's testimony from some of the members that they rarely worked late. They rarely worked past dark.
But what about on the
So
way?
here's
I mean, on the way to work. Don't you think they would have noticed it?
Road, mate.
They didn't go that way. They went the opposite way. So you
GUFON
have to
hasn't got a
watch
clue.
Ryan's presentation.
Oh, I
He shows
see.
he shows the maps. He shows how they
Watch
went.
my episode, mate.
There
Wow.
were different
Make more
ways to
sense.
get into the forest.
Okay.
So he worked that all out, and he showed that. So the 4 guys go back, and they're confused about where it's happening. They don't know where it is, and then Mike pulls up to the work site. Travis is gone. They're freaking out, so they drive back to town. And so the theory goes that Duane had a friend that worked in the fire tower. So you got to remember something. When the UFO was there, the guys in the truck all heard an electrical hum. And I sent you the picture. It shows the generator under the tower that's fenced in.
I didn't see that.
So Dwayne knew
But
somebody in the tower. Travis went up. Now the beam, people are confused about that too. They're like, oh, they couldn't drag a spotlight up there. We believe that he had a friend in the tower that worked up there. He waited till he saw the headlights coming. Back then, they would use colored lenses on the spotlights that were on the towers.
Okay,
And this is to signal different things. Don't quote me, I forgot what the colors stand for, like red, green, blue. And they would use these lenses to signal other towers to tell them different things. You know, I'm not exactly sure. We didn't go deep into the study of that. But this has all been shown. We found pictures with the spotlights on the towers. Anyway, so it's theorized that the guy in the tower saw the truck coming. It was all planned out. He knew where Travis was going to stand. He popped on the blue beam, which would have fired up the transformer underneath. And it would have made an electrical humming sound. Travis fell back on the ground. They took off. Travis went up in the tower and stayed there for 5 days.
My God, this is so convoluted. It had to be perfectly set up for this to work.
All they needed was the guy in the tower. That's all they needed for him to cooperate with them.
But doesn't he know about the hoax, the guy in the tower, then? Or what does he think happened? He does. Okay.
Of course he does.
So have we heard from this guy?
He's a government employee. And if he comes forward, which he's probably in his 70s or 80s now, that's a felony. It's a felony to have somebody on government property harboring somebody who's being searched for.
Well, they can figure out who was on shift that night at this point.
They can, but it's not going to do any good because no one believes that he was up there.
Yeah.
So people are always like, well, why didn't they search the tower? Well, here's why.
They didn't.
Because from the alleged abduction site, they searched out from it in a perimeter of 2.5 miles. The tower is 4.9 miles away. Now, here's something else people keep bringing up. On a podcast last night, which I won't mention, and it's not the one you're thinking of that we already spoke about. There was a podcast before that with a full panel with a bunch of very well-known researchers.
You can say it if
you want. It was Fade to Black, actually.
I don't want to disparage anybody.
Oh, okay. You know, I didn't know. That's my job. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just didn't.
The panel guys. That's the ones that do Mick West. Oh, I can't remember what they're called.
No, very true. You're a gentleman. Okay, so another podcast was talking about it with the panel.
Now you got to remember something. This is 5 well-known researchers, and I'll tell you later on who it is. I'll send you the link.
Oh my God!
And they're all talking about how come the dogs didn't sniff him out.
Right. Oh, okay. I know who it is now.
Now, why do you think that is?
Because
actually, wouldn't it be SOR? Because he knows who it is. Probably is, isn't
he? He went up in the tower. I don't know.
No. Because the dogs were never there.
Because the dogs were in the movie. There was no dogs used. There's no documentation.
No way.
And in Travis's book, in 2 spots, he talks about how Mike wanted dogs used and they ignored him.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
And so
you didn't read the book.
And so these people on this podcast are talking about this like it really happened. Yeah, it did happen in the movie.
Oh, man. I'm so glad I wasn't there. I would have thought the same thing, man.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of discrepancies in the case about different things, you know, like let's see what else. Another big thing that's brought up
Yeah, there was a lot of
is
reading
the
in this
tree ring
case.
thing.
Right.
Okay. Those tree rings were never tested by anybody with a scientific background. Now, here's the kicker. The most well-known, world-renowned tree ring lab is in Arizona. And it was established in 1937, and they were never consulted.
Why, though? Why would you think that they didn't? Because they thought he was murdered?
No, I'm talking about afterwards. When they took chunks of these trees.
Well, didn't Mike or
GUFON.
somebody, or Dwayne or
Go
somebody,
back to
who
sleep.
was it that talked about the trees but didn't get anybody? Who was it?
Oh, they all talked about the trees. Travis has a picture of a slice
Yeah.
of a tree in his book.
And it's even on the Ben Hansen movie. The Truth About Travis, or whatever it's called. And of course he's on the payroll. It's in Travis. Let's see. The true story here, yeah. Of Travis Walton, which is untrue. And does it have Ben Hansen on it? How do we get more information? Versus share. That's not the normal page, is it? Amazon. What am I missing here? Where's all the other information? Trailer? No, we don't want the trailer. Feedback. Details, maybe. Here we go. And 1 star. Best UFO abduction documentary. Suckers born every minute. There we go. 1 star. Boring. Nothing new. That's right. They didn't even do a lie detector test on it, because that would have really made a difference. Oh, what happened there? Okay. I was trying to find all the people in this show thing. I think Ben Hansen was in it. And how do we get to it? What's that saying? No. Click on that one, maybe. No, back. Here we go. Okay. Feedback details. Starring. Oh, there we go. Ben Hansen. And Stanton Freeman. Dear oh dear.
But what I'm saying is, people keep touting that as evidence, but no one with a scientific background looked at those trees.
Right.
They took a picture of it and said, wow, these rings have gotten fat after 1975.
Yeah, they got twice as thick as they did for the previous 80 years or
Because they
something,
got
right?
fertilizer.
Right. And so this tree ring lab, which, like I said, is world renowned, was never consulted, and it's right in Arizona.
That's huge. That's trace evidence that you can't deny right there, right? So doesn't that mean, didn't they test them though, eventually look at them and shown that there was some growth anomaly there?
No.
I think they may have done it on that documentary where they cut it and show the rings. But it doesn't mean it wasn't done by experts. Ben Hansen with a chainsaw. No mention of fertilizer here still.
Labs to have it peer reviewed, and then the paper comes out. So it would take a while.
Let's just skim on.
Forth in public, on Facebook, multiple podcasts where he's ripping at Travis, and so that's kind of knocked a little bit of the legs out from underneath anything really that Mike says these days. So people look at it and they go, well, Mike's older, he's getting senile. They make these remarks about him. Mike's still a pretty sharp guy.
All right.
So over the last few months, Mike has been posting this cover to a book that he's writing. And the book is about a sighting that Travis, his brother Dwayne, and Mike had in 1970. 5 years before the alleged abduction. And they still say, well, we didn't have any interest in UFOs, but there's all this evidence that says, yes, they did. A woman came forward in the first article that was written a few days after the abduction and said that Travis came to her and said he was being chased through the woods by a UFO.
Wow.
So there is a lot going on here. It's very, very complex.
Sounds like they were practicing.
Yeah, so let me just throw these out there too. If you remember an author by the name of Ray Fowler.
Of course, yeah.
Right. So Ray Fowler was one of the first people to investigate. I believe he was involved with Ground Saucer Watch. I'm not positive. Don't quote me. But he was one of the ones that went in there. He got into the investigation. I find a document by him that's the exact same theory, that the two guys fooled the 5 men, and that's the only way their testimony would be convincing.
Right, that's why. Mm-hmm.
Then I come across another document by a researcher called Carl Flock.
Sure.
And he was also a CIA intelligence officer, but he was a UFO investigator. He wrote the same thing in the year 2000, that for this hoax to work, those 5 men had to be fooled by the other 2. And to this day, that's why they have not recanted their story, because they all believe they saw a UFO. Now, Steve Pierce, who was the youngest of the group, he was 16, he believes to this day that it was some kind of black ops. And he believes that Travis was taken to Area 51. I mean, crazy stuff. John Goulet, I think is his name, believes that it was some kind of religious type thing.
Yeah.
So they've all had their different views about what it is.
Well, here's one thing. It says that Mike recanted the confession and said the audio was manipulated. That was July 4th. Then a few days later, Mike changed his mind and said the audio was not manipulated. In an interview, he said 100% he and Travis did not hoax the UFO sighting. Ryan Gordon put forward his theory or takeaway on how that evening went down, which ties in with the theory first proposed by Fowler that the 2 of the crew hoaxed the other 5. So we got a wishy-washy. He did hoax it, didn't hoax it. Why this back and forth, I wonder?
So the reason that Mike recanted his story about the phone call being digitally manipulated is because he was threatened with legal action. Because when you manipulate a phone call in certain states, it's a felony.
Oh, wow.
So
true.
So Ryan told him, you're either going to recant it or we're going to have some kind of legal problems going on, because that phone call was not manipulated at all.
Tyler not in prison?
So Mike recanted the statement, but at the same time, he put a disclaimer at the bottom saying anything digital can be manipulated. But but I'm recanting my story. This whole thing got so complicated, it's ridiculous.
No wonder why you had to talk to me.
That's what Tyler come up with, saying it was a deep fake of him. Which we proved beyond doubt that deep fakes wasn't even available when he uploaded those videos. And still, it's not perfect. And you can't just get the software. And you can get demo versions, but it costs a lot of money, and you got to contact the people with the software. It's not that easy to get deepfake, obviously for criminal reasons, right? So this guy here, Rogers, is saying it wasn't him. It's saying it was deepfake, obviously, and because people are going to buy it, especially those on Fade to Black.
To me about it and not just type it out.
Yeah, it's just, it went on for 2 weeks, and we went through a lot of shit. I know I'm swearing on your show.
No, you're all right. This is unreal.
It is crazy, and the whole thing just spun out of control. So last night, of course, Travis did an interview, and I was blocked in the chat room, and not because I was being rude. I was being honest. And one of the reasons why is because one of the episodes on this show before, this person was promoting Tyler from Secure Team 10. So I made a post on Twitter and said, this is not what ufology needs to be promoting people like this that are scamming people and making money. The host of the show got mad. He blocked me on Twitter.
Alright, so the host being Fade to Black. And I also got timed out there. I tried to interact. Now, what's funny here, though, Scott's quite happily to go on GUFON's show, who associates with the other frauds. Blake Cousins, third phase. So there's a lot of double standards and hypocrites, really. So yeah, he's trying to be, we're telling the truth, but third phase never hoaxed anything, and that's just BS. I've proven beyond the doubt that I have. They have. I mean. Fake stuff. Hey, look, it's late here. Let's get on to midnight. I'm tripping over my tongue. We'll just carry on.
And so I was in the chat room, and Travis made a statement, and he said he has never... Now remember, this is a guy who's been in and out of that forest, going to that abduction site for 45 years. And he made a statement last night, and it's right there on the show. Anybody can listen to it, that he's never seen the Gentry Tower until Ryan showed him pictures of it. And it's 4.9 miles from the work site. And that is absolute bull.
Yep.
They said, he said you can't see it through the trees. The trees block it. There's no way.
No. Go back and listen to it again. He says, I have never seen that tower until I was shown pictures.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Because he didn't see it because the trees were there, right? That's why the trees, you wouldn't be able to see it, is what he's trying to say.
The trees, dope.
That's he also says he also says he's never been to the tower.
Well, maybe he never has.
It's a campground. There's no way he did not drive past that tower, because both ways, going down the mountain and in that area when they were clearing trees, him and Mike were all over that mountain, all over the place up there. So they knew those roads like the back of their hand. So here's another point I'm going to make, okay? They, we already talked about how Mike was the one that drove them to work every day, the 5 guys.
Yeah.
So the five guys were never like jumping in their car and, hey, let's go cruise with some friends up the dirt roads. They weren't doing that. Those guys were not familiar with that area. They were only familiar with the work area they were brought to. All right. So here's another thing. On the show last night, Travis talks about how they heard gunshots because there was hunters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now think about it. You got 7 chainsaws going, and you're going to have hunters that are hunting near you. They're not going to get to.
No, we've seen it on those survival programs. Even if you yell out, the deer just disappear. So any noise of chainsaws, they're going to be like 10 miles away.
Too many deer. 7 chainsaws. No one's going to go near that area with a gun to hunt because there's no deer there.
That's right.
Those chainsaws would have scared away any deer in there because they could hear the gunshots. You know, there's just so many holes in the story. It's just,
I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Okay, well, you know, I mean, that's fine.
No, I mean,
some people will disagree, and that's fine.
So what does that mean?
So,
that there could.
It could have been a deaf deer that a hunter was following. This guy's hopeless. Anyway, I think we've covered most of it tonight. And I'll give you a link to the GUFON show, even though I don't like to promote him. But mostly it's on that, so Scott's interview. Wrong channel to go to, Scott, that's for sure. Another person that's not trustworthy in the field. And obviously he doesn't understand. Still doesn't understand it. Because he's saying, oh no, trying to make excuses like he does with third phase. Oh no, I think there could be deer around. No. They're going to hear those noises and they're just going to get out of there. And you certainly wouldn't hear any gunfire from 10 miles away. Anyway, GUFON hasn't got a clue. And of course, we'll just quickly have a look at what Stevens did today. I'll just skim past his intro. So if Google's going to let us play it. I think they haven't processed his live, right? Whenever it does this, what happens is when we do live shows now, it takes Google 12 to 17 hours to process your live stream properly. And instead it uses a TS string, which does this thing for the loopies. Doesn't always play properly. And here we go, alright. And it only seems to be on certain channels too. Oddly enough, it's UFO channels. Google's up to something. Yeah, there he is there. I can see him. Yeah, it's not going to play, is it? Wonder if we reload it. Try again. Get in there. Make sure there's no copyright for music. It's not going to play again. Come on. Try again, reloading. Oh, it's got to be there. This is the only video we had trouble with all night. Oh, Steve, you're being suppressed. I bet you knew that anyway. Try again.
And time again.
There we go. No. Got something, but nothing.
There is massive evidence that the event was hoaxed as a money-making scheme. Let's call it a scheme, okay? A hoaxed event, a faked story created to sell newspapers. National Enquirer, after all, was the first person to pay Travis Walton a
come on.
ridiculous amount of money in the 1970s. Something like
360. Should be really fast.
$100,000 for the story. Friends, adjusted for inflation, it's almost $1 million.
Yes, we calculated all the money too.
In today's money. That's a lot of money in the 1970s. So for anybody to suggest that
I think the average wage recalculated, looked up, was a year salary was 10,000 back then. So looking at 10 years salary, and 10,000 was a really high wage for, like it was equivalent to 40,000 or 50,000. So let's calculate that up. So to me that works out 10 years salary, $500,000, but then you got to translate it to our currency today, buying power, and I think it was slightly higher, not double though, 750,000 maybe. Anyways, just doing a mental calculation now. I might be wrong.
money wasn't perhaps a motivating factor in where this story originated, is being disingenuous or naive. Now, we've heard, and there has been documented evidence that Travis Walton, his brother, and his mother were all very, very interested in UFOs before this abduction event happened. And I would ask you, what are the odds that this whole family is into UFOs and suddenly one of them gets abducted by aliens for 5 days? Just in time to collect $100,000 prize that the National Enquirer...
That's good. Going so well, then. Come on.
...was running. 2 weeks... 2 weeks, friends. 2 weeks before the Travis Walton.
So there's another way you can tell that it hasn't been processed yet. The side chat's vanished, and once it's processed, the side chat reappears. Okay. So let's just skim. He's just talking about the same stuff. But now he's talking about fade to black. So that's quite funny, I think. Come on. Go faster. Auto. He only does 720. Okay. Oops. It's not going to play for us, is it? Don't know why. The other ones were no problem. But I think the other ones were processed. Good cation, Google. Me on fiber connection here. Unlimited speed. Okay, is there any way we can get it going? Let's try a reload again.
Travis Walton tried to weasel.
Come on. Almost. This is going to be a game
Out of completely and totally overwhelming evidence that he faked his whole alien story.
No, it's hopeless.
Yeah, great. 1 second. Let me find my banner here. We need this fair use banner because some of these guys, if I share something from their show, they try to copyright or privacy strike me. It's not going to...
Yeah. I've been through that, mate.
Work. I have lawyer letters. I'm just saying, I'm not intimidated by stupid people who don't understand what fair use is. So people can...
You mean like Fade to Black? They tried to take down mine. Come on. Keep going. This is ridiculous.
Do what they're going to do. I'm sharing this. I have a legal right to share this because we're using it for educational purposes.
It used to be better, Google. Years ago.
We're discussing and critiquing the video that we are going.
You never ever got buffering. Even on dial-up.
To be sharing. So here's Jimmy Church, and he's going to tell you, first of all, he's going to tell you, I didn't listen to any of this evidence. I just...
No. No. Yeah, let's try something different. Let's try another browser. Let's try Microsoft and see if it fixes it. Might have a different caching method. Cache. Probably do just as bad. Okay. Come on. Yep. Doing the same, innit? What else can we do? Okay, this is doing 480 now. Let's do 1044. I think I'm stuck.
I just called Travis, and Travis said it ain't true.
There we go. No. I don't know what
so
else
that's
to
good
try.
enough for me. I didn't even bother. I couldn't even be bothered to listen to the evidence. Great, Jimmy Church.
Come on.
Awesome. All right, let's share this. I'm citing fair use. This is from this is the end of June. We're going to start with the end.
Well, I don't know what else to try.
Because I think the end is the most telling part of the whole interview that he did.
It's not a lifestyle.
Don't play the music. Or the ads. That will be a strike.
We chose. We were.
I asked that went on out there. No, I want to thank Travis Walton Man, I'm just gonna say this.
Cover story. Because he paid me off. Like Tyler did. Come on. You can tell us.
And I know that I've been posting a lot on social media and speaking about things over the last week. But when this drama came across
it's not drama, Jimmy. It's evidence.
Yeah. Evidence. Confession on voice. Drama.
And I started to see the things that I was seeing out there. Now, I didn't go. I'm going to tell everybody right now.
I'm going to lie. Come on.
I didn't listen to any of those podcasts or live streams or anything that went on out there. Nope. Not going to do it.
You're a dork. Didn't bother looking at my stuff before you had Tyler on. I think he did, though.
And I don't have any interest in that.
He doesn't have any interest in anybody.
We have to give up.
That's providing proof and evidence that the guy he's hosted on his show, what, 10 times? How many times you had him on, Jimmy? How much money have you made from the Travis Walton story?
Lots.
You don't have any interest in hearing the evidence that he's a fraud and that he faked and made up the whole story? Yeah, I guess not.
Anyway, I might have to give you the link, so listen from that point onwards.
You want to keep making those dollar bills, Jimmy Church?
And also, I'm just too plain busy. So. But when I started, and I was like, no, really? And I immediately.
Yeah. Men in Black are Google.
He picked up the phone and called Travis. And I said, Travis, man, how you doing? He goes, man, you know what? I'm doing pretty.
Now, it was going to be good, but Google ruined it for us tonight. So I'll give you a link to it. Truthseeker. Out. F2B. Travis. Do we do the other stuff? It's getting up to 2 hours already. There's always lots of stuff to cover in this field. Okay. We'll probably get some copyright claims on us on that. We'll see. But everybody got good plug there. For free. So I wanted to go back to this one here, the Bristol thing. Nocturnal News put out something, claim it to be UFO. But obviously he didn't look at Mick West's debunks on it. Which they weren't sure what it was either. But the most obvious one in the end was a distant helicopter. So yeah. Notice there is a shape of a helicopter though. You might recall that there is out of focus, right? Remember how you get that ring pattern happening? So what we need really is the full video of that one so I can analyze it better. Instead of taking it from Stupid Son's modification. I don't know if anyone's posted a link yet. Okay, so this is a full video here, is it? Might be 8 minutes. So someone may have added it since. Now let's just open that up and have a look. Now let's see what I think of it. So what does it say? HD Saint Anthem UFO video 2016. I wonder if it's alright to play it though. Let's have a look. How long is it? 8 minutes, yeah. Police. Yeah, so it looks like it's a FOIA request release here, isn't it? So, is there any sound from the helicopter pilot? I have to listen, don't I? I muted it. My end. I can't hear anything. It should be sound if there was sound. So, let's have a look. Okay. So could that be a distant plane or a helicopter? Is that still working? Yep. So many things can go wrong here. So it could be anything on thermal. Remember, we're not seeing the actual object. We're just seeing the heat signature. To me, it doesn't look like a plain heat signature, and here it's out of focus. So it almost looks like what do you call it? Chinese lantern looking underneath it, which some people said they thought it was, but apparently it's moving against the wind, which Chinese lanterns don't do, or balloons, but certainly planes and helicopters do. Looks like it's almost repeating. Is it meant to be the full video or not? We'll compare it to the sun one just in case, I guess. Okay, that looks like it's out of focus there. We'll just grab some images. Seems to have a look of a smoke trail going around the outside of it. So let's go and do the analysis. Hey, what's happening there? Oh, okay. Select area. Okay, let's have a good look at that. save it. And we've got no folder opened, so I better bring one across. There we go. And there's our snapshot. Bristol UFO. Okay. Resize it. And we've got the arrow of the thing cutting it. And the arrow either side, right? So that's probably not the best frame. So what can we do with it? And color curves. Why is it not moving? So brightness is not going to do much for us probably. Now, it doesn't look like a fire lantern, does it? Now, I wonder if we got some comparison thermal images of various objects in the sky. That would really help. Like one of planes from behind or side. Or both actually, and same with helicopter. Now, are we looking at some part of the helicopter here? Because here that it's not very crystal clear either, is it? Let's see. Flip color. Don't know if it's going to help us. Might do. Does look like atmospherics here around the outside. And it doesn't look like a plane. So I want to look inside there. RGB. Now you can see the color range. Oh. It's not going too bad. Does sort of look like a helicopter on that heat image there. So you got the main part here and the tail going off this way. I don't think it was cutting. There's the line going through there, but there was something going through the side here. Look, that almost looks like a helicopter. Let's just draw around that. It looks like a rotor fin here. I'll just draw what I'm seeing. Maybe pareidolia, I don't know. What colour should we go for? Yellow. Will that come out? Okay, that looks like the rotor there. And that looks like something going towards the helicopter that way. And that way. And that almost looks like the round bit that way. Okay, we need that thing again. Why is it not showing up? Something happened there. Go back. There we go. Let's do it again. What's happened to the CPU? So that looks like the cabin, the pilot area, right, of the helicopter. And it almost looks like the rotors going up here. So that could explain why it looks fuzzy at the top here. Looks like there's something going up. It looks like something coming down there too. Looks like something's hot going that way. I suppose that could be the pad that lands on. But it looks like some heat coming up here. Almost looks like it's going up to a rotor system here. Up that way. Yeah. The question is, what does a helicopter look like on Seymour? Now, if this is out of focus, how does that affect the image? Let's go back to the video. Keep watching it. So it looks like it's sort of wobbling around at the top here, where the rotors would be. And the cameraman's moving around. Now it looks like it's in focus, or something different's happening here. Okay, see if we can grab a bit of that. Looks like we're losing people watching, but it's alright. It's crazy late here. Lunchtime elsewhere. Okay, let's paste that one then. Now what's happened? I didn't do that. Why is it not working? Maybe I didn't. Maybe it didn't copy. Let me just try again. Oh, right, I have to save it to file first. No, I'm not using the other. I'll just mute myself here. It's a bit off-putting hearing yourself talk back. The other snip tool from Windows sticks it in the clipboard for you. But this one doesn't, it saves it to a file. So it means you have to drag it back on. And let's see if it looks like a helicopter, but it's far away. But we might be able to enhance it enough. Open. This is my first time in analysing it, by the way. So it's our initial look, I guess. You can see here how the shape's changed. It looks more like the centre bit that we were looking at here, right? And the outside here is obviously out of focus interference patterns because of the light. To me, that looks like more helicopter changing either slightly towards us or away from us. Kind of looks like landing pads down here, right? So let's draw around it again. So, to me, that looks almost like a helicopter. It looks like the cabin there. And there, up the top there, looks like rotors. But we're only seeing the heated part of the motor here. And the rotors that way. And that looks like part of the landing gear coming down this way. And a bit down there. Now is it flying away from us or towards us? Yeah, but you can see where I've gone with that, right? Still fits a helicopter in my book. It's on a slight angle though. Let's see if I can get a viewpoint of a helicopter coming towards us. Helicopter coming towards us. Okay, so almost like that one there. Right, you can see how the skid looks longer on one. That's a good match there, but maybe the rotor's too high. You can see these ones are not so high up. Different models, different helicopter models. What's it likely to be though? Police helicopter? Or maybe some rich dude personal helicopter, right? Like Trump. Trump helicopter. Now that one's a good one. If it was aiming towards us, it's got the right more T-shaped. Right. There we go. So that one's getting on the right angle. And it's got the longer leg, right, and the shorter leg here. So let's just grab that one, overlay it, give us some idea. How are we going to do it? Grab it. So it could be flying away from us as too, and they have the same sort of shape. Come on. Ping, yep. Ping we want is the best quality. It doesn't change the pixels, but like the codec used in MP4s, right? It means you can reduce the scale of it and it still keeps the pixels without compression. Yeah, so now if we drop in that, we might be able to see something that we didn't before. So it looks like a helicopter Or on that line. There's a leg, there's a leg. There's a nose. Rotors will be on an angle this way. Kind of looks like it might be actually. So maybe there's a better image frame that we can grab. Let's zoom in and keep it focused. So let's scale it up proportionally. Come on. What's going on here? I need to get rid of the outside bit. See, it's got multi shades of blue there. Now we'll try a razor, see how much we lose. It's not too bad, we lost a wee bit. Might give us enough to play with though. Now we lost part of the skid, have we? I'll just try that anyway. And say deselect. Now we've got some of the rotor back and some of the foot back, that's alright. So we need to scale it up even more. It's got to be close. The feet there needs to be rotated a bit. Now you can see what I mean. It's a lot easier. Zoom out. Now where's the edge now? Now we got to remember, we're not seeing the real image here, we're seeing the heat of it. Yeah, still might need to be a bit bigger. Zoom out. It's in proportional. Probably too big now. But then again, we're dealing with the heat, so I think it's too big now. Still too big, I think. Probably something like that. So let's get back out of that. Now let's go back to the video. So we can turn off the layers. Still might be a wee bit big. But the rotor blades would have to go that way, right? And we just ain't got enough information there. So let's see what else we can get. I think we're on the right track though. See how many pixels I got from that though. Okay, might be zooming in a bit now. But that's sort of moving like a helicopter though, isn't it? Left to right. Looks like it's repeating though to me. I think it's just got it repeating over and over again. It's got to be more footage than that, surely. Okay, so can we see what that is? I wonder if we can zoom right into it before we copy it. See, it looks like a helicopter again, doesn't it? But the tail's gone the other direction. Let's just step it frame by frame. So we've got a helicopter heat signature, I reckon. Now what happened there? Change modes? No. It's got to be flying away from us. Oh, what the hell? Don't do that. It must be too far up. Yeah, the cursor's in the wrong bloody place. It won't do it. Let me see. Nah, I lost my frame. No. So now we're seeing the tail fin, I think, on the right hand side there. And then it's bending around again. So it's changing shape too much to be like a flying saucer, right? So you'd expect to see the same sort of the heat to make the same shape, right? So that's definitely in focus here. When they over zoomed it, it went out of focus. Here we go again. So I don't like that video. I'm not sure if it's a real full deal actually. So let's go back to this one here and mute it. I got a copyright claim last time. Okay, so let's have a good look at this one. So that's where he's zoomed in too much. It's out of focus. Ah, damn. My magnifier's playing up. Yeah, that still looks like a helicopter. Just reset that. I don't know why it loses, but it does. It loses like super user rights over the other windows, and then if it loses rights, then the key clicks for the magnifier goes to the browser instead, and then of course the zoom in and zoom out is changing the font size. It's really annoying. Pretty sure it's a bug in the software though. The mouse driver for this, because I used to have that trouble right with the Microsoft software, but this what's it called? Forgot the brand. Logitech or something. Obviously their software is not as good. It's not elevated enough. But anyway, we want to focus again. But you can see the flicker in there, like rotor. At the top, especially. Come on, come on. Now we had a good one then, and then they changed again. So, we did have a link to McWest, didn't we, somewhere? Let's have a look at the flight paths again. I'm just giving you my expert opinion on it. Doesn't mean I'm correct, but I think the way I show things that makes sense to people, that they can see the same things I do. Filmed by Welsh police officers. Let's go back one. This case was already exposed in 2017. Okay, let's go back to MetaBunk. And I wasn't convinced they had solved it or not. Okay, so what's the first comment? Okay, UFO interest is there. He's saying it's likely a sky lantern. No. Twitter feature just says sky lanterns. A balloon, although pilots plane was flying into the wind, exactly. But was it? I don't know. Okay, this picture of a sky lantern underneath. But that means they would have to be underneath, filming upwards, right? So I'd have to rule that out myself. That's out of focus. Come on, Scott, you should see that's out of focus. So you're not seeing the true heat signature. Scott doesn't always get it right. I can't figure out the location there. There are two sets of coordinates at the bottom of the video. Okay, so is there any helicopters on that map? Well, if they got the wrong time and date, right? What's this one? High altitude. Why do they think it's high altitude though? To me, the donut shape looks more like a camera artifact. Yes! Due to proper focus. There we go. Someone spec me up here. Rather than the actual shape. Well, it's not actual shape anyway because it's a thermal. Okay. So what did he say? So the lantern explanation may not stand up. It doesn't. No. Agree. Horrible with time zones. And UTC, I know it sucks. It was on Saturday night, 21:30. So it's too far back for us to use the software because we can only go back 1 year even with membership rights, which kind of sucks. It would be good to be able to have software that's free where you can go back as far as they were collecting data on planes. But we don't have that anymore. So it's at 1,000 feet. So that would make helicopter level, right? Cloud cover. That's what I see with helicopters around here. It's normally below the normal jet airliners that pass over top, because we're on the flight path of the airport here. They do like a U-E around us, and orbit around, I guess, waiting for permission to come and land down. So 1,000 feet for a helicopter would make a lot more sense. So we need to find a helicopter. Error not connected to summer times. Okay, so what we got now. So you can only go by with these snapshots they did. But the problem is a lot of private planes as well as helicopters don't have to be on the flight radar. Right, they have to register with the app, what they're using here, which I don't know if it's flight radar, is it? So they're using Plane Finder, because that one did allow you to go back a few years, and then they put a membership on it, so closed it off. And that one had the least planes on it too, private ones. So if it was a private helicopter for a rich person, it could be here, but if it's not registered with them, it's not going to show us on the application. Now this is the stuff that Skywatchers don't use, and obviously police helicopters, right? They should really have flight tracking software with them at the same time. I suppose there would be a way for them to get internet connection so they can do that. What's that mess? Alright, so there was fireworks going on. Okay, let's just play that, see what they got. Alright, that looks like fireworks going up. So you can rule out it was that, right? That's fairly obviously fireworks. Those ones are pretty cool, the starburst ones. And especially different colours they have. Okay, they're still going on. If anyone out there knows any more on this, or something I haven't seen, maybe post it on the site. What's this one? Generated as described here, MetaBunk. I don't understand. What is this thing here? Is that a building? Below is a view of it from the helicopter. I'm a bit lost. Approximate location. Where? Where's the helicopter? Barry. Who the hell is Barry? Was that the pilot's name? So what's this here? I'm a bit confused by that. Fireworks again. What are they saying about the fireworks though? The bottom line displays the helicopter's coordinates. Right, okay. So you should be able to work out which direction it's looking at the fireworks. But is that going to help us? We want to know the direction it was looking at the UFO. Or the helicopter. Okay, someone's trying to calculate it here. Is it cut off here at the bottom? Is it, that's why they can't figure out. Can't figure out stuff. So, I wonder if they'll looked at it again now the full video's out then. Does that have... No, it doesn't have the information, does it? And I don't think the other one was a full video. It was in that one there, wasn't it? I'm yawning, so I might have to give up. At the bottom of the camera, in direction. Don't see it. It must be here. There's a strange flickerance around the object video, compression artifacts. Well, I think it's because you got the rotor blade going around. I don't think it's anything to do with compression. One big problem with these type of videos are taken with these specialty cameras. No audio in the original. Box within a sphere. No. Definitely had a helicopter shape. Not an iPhone. Too slow to be passed off as a UFO. Too slow. Yeah, it didn't move off vertically at incredible speeds, did it? Sort of moved like a helicopter. Any news on Radio Garden drone? Okay, he's trying to change it. Balloon or that UAP. Well, it's very windy that day up there, so still dismissing it as a balloon. Yep. What's that video about? Yeah, so that wasn't really useful, was it? So back to MetaBunk. Okay, where is it? So is this the full video they're doing now? What was the same one? Where does it say? Where's the dates? No, it's still a few years ago, right? When did the full video come out, though? That's a good question. Looks like only recently. Is it? Tweet was deleted. June, so it came out in June this year. He still thinks that's the full video. I wasn't impressed with it. Was there something I was missing on it? Yeah, it hasn't got any sound, has it? No. Okay, we got some extra stuff at the bottom here, though. Alright, now we're seeing it from the helicopter side, is it? Or front? What the hell's that? Out of focus. That's weird. Okay, it's also at the front of the helicopter. Why is it all different angles and views and starts? Maybe they turn it on, then turn it off, and then turn it back on when they see something So then we got some more information at the bottom here. And now we've got a compass bearing. But where was the object though? Okay, what's that saying there? So, looks like they've got some more information here that we didn't have. Be damned if I can read it though. So, MetaBunk, have these guys been investigating it? We have to keep on going down and have a look. Oh, dude, they've got stuff here. Keep on going. Yeah, what have we got now? Plane finder track. See, this is the problem. They're using plane finder. I know it doesn't have enough small private stuff on there. So they're trying to say it's a prop plane. That's what the flickering is. That's what they're saying now. I don't think so. The shape didn't fit. Doesn't fit, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, there's that helicopter shape again. It's got to be a helicopter. What's he saying? Me too, and where does it seem to focus? Okay, McWest agrees with me. It's from the idea of a propeller. Yes, it's definitely a propeller. Okay, we got a helicopter here. Does it play? Looks like on thermal camera. Well, there's that shape. Definitely that shape happening. And we did see that flickering up there. You can see the blades going through. So if that thermal can pick it up that close, what does it look like from far away though? That's out of focus, that's useless. That's back in focus, that's out of focus, in focus. It does have that shape that they showed above. Helicopter still looks like the best fit. He's back to planes again. Noticed Chilean one, true shape of the hotspots was revealed when the camera switched zoom levels. Not too sure what he means there. There are a number of similar fades at 10 on 10. Okay, he's looking at the unfocused one. Again, okay. But a single prop just seems incredibly unlikely. Nah, he's looking at it the wrong way. See, Mick's not always right, you see. There we go, that's the right angle. Okay, what's this here? Helicopter in question. What question though? Fireworks zoom in, there was no ring effects. That's right. So last frame. The propeller hypothesis is verifiable. Just need a thermal video. Yeah, correct, mate. Of the aircraft with the running engine. So is the focus artifact? Yes, it is. So if we can high zoom in. So that's the helicopter that had the thermal on it. There we go. There's the pod there. Nice looking helicopter, isn't it? but I think they're filming another helicopter. Let's keep on going. The camera appears to be FLIR. Yes. You know that much, Mick. Looks like in the phone screen they chopped off some minor info. Okay, so there's all the information here. Latitude, longitude. What are we looking at here, though? Inside the helicopter? I don't understand. What is it? Looks like the cockpit of a helicopter. No, trailer. Oh, boat. It's a boat. Speedboat or something. Okay. There's a close-up though. Okay, what's he going on about here? Air show. And it looked like nothing like that. So it rules out being a prop small plane. It looks more like a helicopter. Nope, don't look like anything like that. Or that, or that. Okay, what's this now? Entertain a different hypothesis. The object was one or more aircraft flying over the English Channel. So we've got a different map now, have we? I still think that they're being misled, right? Using one plane finder app when they should be using all of them to see if there's any missing planes and just overlay the missing planes onto a single map. But then again, it's no guarantee that they're registered. Okay, what's this one? June the 9th. Hi, everybody. Freedom of information. So that's what we're looking at. So that might be the same guy that posted the tweet. Right, we have seen that though. Okay. And the flight log, the date September the 17th. The helicopter took off 21. Landed at 22. Expression local time. It confirms your findings. The time displayed on the video is Zulu time. UTC, like displayed in the video with the letter Z. Okay, this document also confirms that Zulu time? What do they mean by Zulu? I've never heard that term. Unless they're talking about Zulu as in Africa, but why then? Yes, I'll just type it in. Zulu time. There's a lot of reading, isn't there? What's this coming up? Must be getting late here. Yeah, it is. Zulu time, called Zulu time. Okay, good question. That's what we're trying to find out. Phonetic radio alphabet for Z is Zulu. Okay, that makes sense. So when one says Zulu time, it's short for 0 offset time. Meaning Greenwich Mean Time, or more properly UTC minus Coordinated Universal Time. There you go. So that answers that one. Always learning something new. But I've got to wrap up soon because my eyes are starting to have it. Oh, we're coming up to 3 hours already. There you go. Zulu time, so can they get the right map now? Map from that information. Also extracted metadata. Clouds can be seen in video. Cardiff, Wales, airports. What's that location? As you can see, the sky was overcast. And that could explain why you're getting that sort of mistiness. They're seeing a helicopter through a cloud, right? Responsible. Because it was at 1,000 feet, which would be low clouds. Makes total sense to me. Notice that you also worked on the firework, right? No, that's not fireworks. Just missing that idea. Just don't do the fireworks. A lot of train tracks, is it? Motorways? Crazy. Come on, you got to get a decent plane map, surely. Someone's got to have one. What do we got here? Right. Thank you for the link to the full. Already the chapter's coordinates have been redacted from it. Why did they do that? That's half the problem, is it? The information was covered up. The extras at the end point to a new strong candidate flight. Flyby 4312, which landed like a Chilean UFO. The plane was at a long distance from the chopper. Yeah, no, that's not a plane. No, I don't believe it. Again, they're using plane finder. It's not going to be good enough. Okay, keep on going. So that's half the problem. The flight radar stuff. It's going to have missing information as well. This is where it's going to be impossible to debunk it. Okay, someone's trying to overlay a day shot with the chopper's view. You gotta remember there was cloud cover. I don't think they can solve it. This case has risen again. Yep. Is there anything in this full video that wasn't released? Also, how did they know it was flying against the wind? Well, it would have some instrument readings there, wouldn't it? So, that's it. I don't think you can do it without the flight radar maps being complete. And I don't think it is there what they're looking at. So why is Scott Brandon saying it was solved when it's not? Thinking about the question to whether the time on the helicopter camera was off by 16 minutes. Nah, I just think it's a private helicopter that's not on those maps. That's what I'm going to say until someone can prove otherwise. Now, I think you'll find private helicopters. Let's just verify. Helicopters. not all showing. Well, let's choose the more latest one, Flight Radar, which is newer than Plane Finder. It's been around a lot longer and been collecting data more. Let's see what it says. How it works. Do helicopters show on flight radar? They do, if they're registered, I think. Aircraft visible on Flight 24 with MLAT radar or something else coverage in regions of ML radar or FLAM coverage. Most of the air traffic is tracked and visible dependent on the aircraft type. This includes propeller aircraft, helicopters. Yeah, but why do some planes not show up? Meaning not compatible with our receiver. First of all, it must not be fitted. Second, if the aircraft is fitted, may not be visible. Aha, LAPD helicopters are no longer showing up on app. And private helicopters are. Also, it's going to be a bit of reading. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have all the small planes and helicopters on its database. Transponder errors outside the runway. Wrong transponder code. Detours. Data source errors. Issues with our data. I think there's going to be a few of them. We maintain a database of over 250,000 aircraft, making sure this database is up to date. Something we work on every day, but try as we might, the database is never 100% correct. Sometimes aircraft change owners and registrations are scrapped or reused, so we may end up with showing a helicopter flying at 45,000 feet. We also end up showing the same flight twice. So there's all sorts of craziness that happens. Alright, they got two. Yeah, still doesn't answer my question about private stuff. Okay, let's reword it. Private excluded from flight radar. Private planes hidden from public view. Saying a list of private planes whose flights. Okay, let's have a look at that one. This is back in 2010. Public view. Oh, here we go. It's not going to let us read it because we got ad blocker. So these small lead jets and helicopters can be excluded from the database because they don't like terrorists or whatever to be tracking them, right? Note, helicopters are exempt from the land clear rule. What's that mean? There you go. 2019. The private jet owners registry is a selective list of planes. Okay, a lot of reading. Tracking systems. A ridiculous amount of reading. So these are all different plane finding web pages out there, which are probably apps as well. Flight Aware, Flight Radar 24, Open Sky Network, no one. Other tracking providers, and there's Plane Finder. Using FOIA and US to get flight data. Ownership data. Find out who owns it is theoretically possible. Most countries do not make ownership information public. Okay. It's too much. Overload. Well, someone out there might know. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that they don't have all the planes on their database if they wish to be excluded, not tracked. Or they have to purposely register to say they want theirs to be tracked so they can keep an eye on their pilots or whatever. But anyway, yeah, I think we'll finish up on that. So what's my conclusion? That's a private helicopter and it's not listed on that software, so they can't prove it. So now it's just a UAP / possible helicopter. Okay. And we can be done with that one. Bristol. So I have to change my title to other UFOs to whatever it was. Bristol UFO. Anyway, better wrap up and let it process. I think I've already done the thumbnail, so I don't need to save those. And I think we had like average of 2 or 3 watching, which is pretty good this time of night. I think it's early morning USA there. We don't need those. And I'll just end with the end credits now, and see you again another day, I guess. And there's always plenty to talk about. Still yet to do more Thai layer MUFON cases, and 10-minute ones. So I'll say good night and see you in the future. Before my brain pops. Is it working? Yep. I just can't hear it. Oops, what happened there? Good stuff. Comes to an end. And truth always wins in the end. So I'm just going to end this early because we're going through the full credits. Probably should have posted the Scott link again. Too bad. Good night all.